What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another War Within video. Hope you're all doing very well. I want to talk about Lightsmith today, heading into Season 2. I think a lot of people are worried, justifiably so, about Lightsmith in Season 2 of the War Within because of all the healers in the entire game, Lightsmith Holy Pally received the most nerfs, I would say, of any healer. Not just anything going on with Paladin itself, but actually any healer, period. So, yo, guys, the gnome would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe on the video. All right, thanks, bye. So, for example, Tempered in Battle can only redistribute health once per cast now, so that got nerfed. It used to just redistribute health, like, over a period of time, I think, over, like, a 4 or 5 second period of time, and it would just keep doing, like, basically, like, a Spirit Link. It was as good as Spirit Link or better. Actually, it was probably better than Spirit Link, to be honest. So, in my mind, it's okay that this got nerfed. It's not on this list, but our Hammer and Anvil, which is when our Judgment crits and it does a bunch of healing, that got nerfed by 33%. That's a big nerf. Truth Prevails got nerfed, which is another thing when you throw Judgment and it heals people. I'll show you in a second. And then Greater Judgment got nerfed by 25%, and our AoE healing got nerfed. So this build, the Avenging Crusader Lightsmith build, saw the most nerfs of all of them, right? Tempered in Battle is down in value. Hammer and Anvil is down in value. And then our Greater Judgment Absorb is down by 25%, and Truth Prevails. Now, with the Lightsmith build, it turns Judgment into your best healing ability, like by a mile. It's really, really strong to press Judgment, right? It procs Truth Prevails. It procs Hammer and Anvil. It procs healing if you're in your Avenging Crusader window. It puts a Greater Judgment on enemies. Like, there's so many good reasons to throw it. So they basically hit every single part of that. They also nerfed Blessed Assurance, which used to give your when your holy power abilities right now on live, it makes your next Crusader Strike do 120% damage. In Season 2, it's going to do 20% more damage and healing. So a big nerf on Blessed Assurance, right? That's the biggest one, but a lot of other targeted nerfs at Judgment, which, you know, all the different Judgment talents, which this is a serious thing. It's these are real nerfs. So on live, you can see, for example, my Hammer and Anvil, and it ends up doing around 8 to 9% of my healing. My Tempered in Battle's around 5% of my healing. Truth Prevails is 3.5%. And then we've got, that's about it. The rest of it's going into Beacon and stuff, right? But those are the big three. Oh, Greater Judgment, sorry, is 6% of my healing. So again, Judgment itself is responsible for, let's call this 15% of my healing, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, let's call it 14%. And then 19, let's go 20% of my healing. And then about 23.5% of my healing is wrapped up in Judgment, okay? If we look at it on in Season 2, where I did a dungeon here, let me get to the final numbers, which is on 509. Let's go to 509 here. I'll show you the final numbers. So again, the number I just said, keep that in your head, right? In terms of how much Judgment is contributing. Now we look at it. You can see Tempered in Battle is still around 5%, so that's kind of good. But now our Hammer and Anvil is only 4%. So there's 9% of our healing, and then Greater Judgment is 2.7%. So 9, 10, 11, almost 12%. Truth is 2.6. So you've got maybe 15% of your healing is represented at Judgment. Now, there's some variability here. I could probably have gotten this up to 20%, but you're going from Judgment representing around 35, 36% of your healing, all the way down to now representing about 20%. 15 to 20% of your healing is what Judgment is going to represent now. So that's a huge loss for Lightsmith. Now, I will say, however, what we have gained is the ability for Holy Shock to actually fill in that gap, and in particular for our Divine Toll to really fill in that gap as well. And we're definitely missing some healing. Don't get me wrong, it feels crappier now than it did before. Lightsmith is objectively worse than it was before. But they pushed a bunch of power into Holy Shock, right? And Holy Prism. And your Holy Shocks are now 40% stronger on healing, which makes Divine Toll 40% stronger at healing as well. And your Divine Toll is going to have its cooldown reduced. With the tier set bonus, it's going to add insurance HOTS to all your allies. So I would say power has been redistributed. You're definitely got nerfed on Lightsmith for sure, but you gained a lot of power with Holy Shock and even Holy Prism to an extent there. So I would say that you need to take it with a grain of salt there. And this is why I wanted to do testing with Lightsmith in an actual dungeon. You can see here, this is a plus 12 Cinderbrew Meadery. This is the new dungeon in the new season. And we're pumping a lot of healing here, and there are moments when Judgment actually hits pretty hard, which is awesome. You're still going to get those awakening procs, and they're still going to feel good. They're not going to feel anywhere near as good as they did, for sure, but you're still going to get them, and they're going to feel good. You're still going to throw Judgment as much as you do now. You're going to try and, you know, cool down your Judgment with your Crusader Strike and throw it again so that you can get more Judgment procs. It's still going to represent a large portion of your healing because it's still triggering, you know, Hammer and Anvil and the talents on the tree, but it's just going to be less representative. So you're going to have to lean a little bit harder, I would say, on Holy Shock and how that kind of ends up carrying you. Okay, so I have a proc right here of my, it's going to trigger Hammer and Anvil. This is an awakening proc, which means my Judgment is guaranteed to crit here, which means it's guaranteed to trigger Hammer and Anvil. We're going to take AoE damage here in a second as soon as he does his keg thing. There it is, Tenderize. I guess it's called Tenderize, my bad. I'm going to do my beacons into a Judgment. So right now, I've done about 223 million healing on this pull. Watch the health bars go up. Boom, they went up a little bit. 232 million. So every time I throw, you know, an awakening proc Judgment with this build, it's still doing 10 to 12 million healing. Just on one throw, one cast of Judgment with all my beacons up is doing like 10 to 12 million healing. It would have done 15 to 20 million healing before, so it's definitely been nerfed once again, but it still pumps health bars up and it feels good in my opinion. I think, you know, obviously inside your Avenging Crusader, it's also very strong still because it has all these additional procs that are going on. I don't know what high stakes was. I think somebody got hit by a circle there. Here's the other cooldown, right? This is your Divine Toll now, which is going to really move those health bars up in a big way. And you're going to have to just lean on Divine Toll a little bit more than you're used to. That's just the way it's going to go, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's just something we're going to have to get used to. If you're going to play AC Lightsmith in Season 2, I don't think it's dead. I'll keep showing you some more clips here. I've done a lot of dungeons with this now on the PTR. I don't think it's dead by any means. It's definitely worse than it was, right? There's no way to get around that. It really is worse than the way it was. But you just have other tools now, in my opinion. And I love that. I love all the power they put into Divine Toll. It feels great to press Divine Toll. Here's a bunch of damage going out here. I have to dispel people. I use Divine Toll right there, so I have the insurance hot fighting the like damage over time that we're taking. That's going to become, I would say, your most powerful cooldown now. No matter what build you're running, your Divine Toll with your Beacon of Virtue on the top of everybody is going to be, I think, the best combo that you have, and it's on a low cooldown now. So as I said in my other video when I was doing the Operation Floodgate, it feels like Holy Paladin is part of the group that has really low cooldown abilities, which are great. There's a Holy Shock, 2.2 million Holy Shock there. Those feel really good. When you need them now, you're a little less reliant on all the Judgment stuff coming out of Lightsmith, and you're able to have more productivity out of your Holy Shock. You just saw right there. I'll show you again the amount of healing that I just pumped out with Holy Shock on that pull. Just in general, Holy Shock starts to look like this on your overall, you know. It used to be like way down the list for if you were running a Lightsmith build, and now it really feels like it's going to be near the top of your list most of the time now, which is super cool. Do another boss here. Yeah, this guy does Volatile Keg here, which is going to do AoE damage on everybody. So I'm going to beacon before that happens, and then we can do a Divine Toll right away. That gets all the health bars up, and then we put the hot on everybody, and it starts fighting the damage that we're going to be taking, so it doesn't look quite as bad. And now we have an AC proc here, and I just threw it, and everybody gets topped up again, except for the mage. We're going to Holy Shock this mage, and that just tops him up, which is really good. We're doing 2.4 million healing. On the Operation Floodgate that I was doing the other day, I had a moment where I was doing 4 million HPS. 4 million HPS. So this can pump, it can do the healing that is required, and it still does a lot of damage as well. I mean, I'm doing 700k. We were peaking at like 700k there. I can do that on almost every pack. Then I wanted to get some food. I wanted to drink, and I couldn't. So I'm starting the boss fight at 27% mana, by the way. Just keep in mind here, I do have Blessing of Winter going right now, so I'm getting mana back, but this was really bad. I thought I was just kind of cooking my whole team. The tank just ran in without letting me like get my mana. But we're doing 700k DPS, by the way, on a boss fight. Like right away, like the damage is quite good. You can see my consecration buff over here that I have now. I don't have the Crusader Strike talent anymore for Lightsmith. I'm taking the consecration one instead. So that's really buffing my damage in a big way, which is nice. Keeping it relevant there. There's my Divine Toll. Just topped everybody. Look at the mage here. Like you're still gonna have these moments where you're able to top people in a big way. I'm gonna hit him here. He's really low. Like I hit him with a Word of Glory. Watch this Word of Glory. Boom. That was a huge one over there. It was 2.4 million. And then it had some beacon healing as well. So really, really good there. We're going to get to the intermission of this fight. And there's just a party-wide damage going out the entire time during the intermission. Very annoying. I do get an AC proc. I get an Avenging Crusader proc. Yeah, Awakening is what I'm trying to say. So I throw it at him right now before he gets immune. That tops everybody up right here. Boom, everybody's topped up. It's still going to feel that way. The Lightsmith judgments are still going to feel that way. Now I'm standing in the middle of the room. I'm not doing the mechanic because I'm trying to heal everybody. So I really don't think the healer is going to end up doing the like beer mechanic here when you're on this fight, because you need to be keeping everybody topped up. This is brutal. You have like negative 25% haste during this phase. It really sucks. So yeah, very annoying. Now my mana is at 24%, again, miraculously, because the AC Lightsmith build still uses very little mana to actually accomplish all the healing that it wants to. So that feels really good to me, that it still is incredibly mana efficient, and you're going to really enjoy that. Even in a situation like this where I started the fight at 24% mana, I'm somehow only at 20% mana right now, just dipping below that now, keeping people alive. And, you know, you can still pull off that kind of thing with this build. This uses a lot less mana than the Herald of the Sun build does, which puts a lot more power into Holy Shock. But Holy Shock just costs a lot more mana than your than Judgment and Crusader Strike do. Those just cost like no mana at all, right? I make a big mistake. I get booped into the tornado here and I get stunned. I can use my Human Racial to get out of it, but I did it really late. But I can still use it. Now I did have Divine Toll running there. Here's some Holy Shocks now, just getting people up. Boom, boom, boom. Feels really good. Holy Shock is definitely moving health bars, which is awesome. Again, it's going to supplement your healing now in a really big way, more so than it did in the past, right? You are less reliant on Judgment critting enemies, and you have more power built into your Holy Shock and your Divine Toll, which you're going to have to lean on. Also, your shields didn't get hurt at all. I'm gonna skip past it. There's the boss fight there, so I did end up getting through. You're like your holy bulwarks didn't get touched. They're still the same, and they're still gonna end up being your top heal over the course of an entire dungeon. That's just the way it goes. But bottom line is, I just want to say, this felt really comfy to me. It actually felt comfy. It did not feel like it was a complete wash. Like there was no way I could ever play Lightsmith anymore. I felt like Lightsmith was okay, actually. It definitely did less. There was less oomph when I threw those judgments and than there used to be. But it's still good, in my opinion, still a good tree. Tempered in Battle basically didn't change for some reason. I think Tempered in Battle is still very strong, even though they directly nerfed it. It's Tempered in Battle seems like it's doing about the same amount of healing. Again, the nerfs that came to things like Truth Prevails and Greater Judgment, they were already only doing like 3 to 5% of your healing anyway. So they got nerfed by 25%. So they're going to go down to like 2.5% of your healing and like 4% of your healing. So they didn't get nerfed by that much. Really, the big nerf is on Hammer and Anvil. That's the biggest one that you're going to notice. But this thing plays the same way. And all you're doing is investing more into your Holy Shocks, and you're less reliant on Judgment. That's kind of what's happening here. Is it better than Herald of the Sun? I don't know. Look at the Tempered in Battle, jumping people's health bars around. Ding, 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 ding. That's Tempered in Battle right there, by the way. It still does that little Spirit Link thing. We end up dying here, unfortunately. Is this better than Herald of the Sun? I don't know. I have to do more testing with more keys. I'd have to really get onto the live game probably to be able to make that determination. And I will do a video about that once this goes live. But for now, like, I think that this tree is fine. I think it's capable of handling any keys that you want to do up to a plus 12 for sure. I think it can handle plus 12s. Beyond a plus 12, I don't know yet. I haven't been able to even test that yet on the PTR, but I'm pretty sure this can handle anything up to a plus 12 and including a plus 12. So once again, we'll just go back and look at these numbers really quickly. Did I look at them here? Yeah, it just feels good. Your Holy Bulwark is still going to be your top heal. Word of Glory, Holy Shock is now going to occupy a higher place on the healing meters. Beacon of Light, Avenging Crusader is still doing lots of healing on its own. So it's good. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I don't think you need to panic. The sky is not falling. It does less than it did before, but it's still a competitive build, especially because Divine Toll and Holy Shock are now a bigger part of the pie, okay? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We'd love to hear from you all down there. Once again, I have done a lot of testing on this already. I've done more than just this one key that I'm showing you. I just wanted to show you some snippets here from this Big 12 that I was doing and show you some Cinderbrew meadery as well. So let me know what you think in those comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.